Hello again, everybody. I'm Doug Miles, once again sitting in for Rochelle Herman. Glad to be with you. I'm from WIBQ Radio, along with Rochelle, and she sends her best to you tonight. And thank her again for an opportunity to sit in on her program. It's all about health, and I have a very special guest tonight, a good friend of mine and a good friend of our radio station as well, over 1220 WIBQ. You'll see his name coming up on the screen as the author of a book, but I said before the show we should make it Don Blair, broadcast legend. How are you, Don?
That's right. Legend in his own mind. Yes, yeah.
From Mutual News, NBC News,
every network,
CBS.
Every network.
They ran out of networks, so you had to move down here.
I couldn't hold a job, Doug, so I just kept going from one network to another.
Don's been with us many times over at 1220 WIBQ. We're going to talk about a lot of interesting things tonight and things that are in the news. The space program has been in the news again. Of course, you covered that
very much so
for so many years with Mutual. Covered all the Apollo missions,
Gemini and Apollo.
Yeah.
And I was able to talk the good folks at Channel 7 into letting me come back on the air as a correspondent every time a shuttle goes up. So we've done 2 shuttles now. And we come in with, accumulated material, slides, NASA video, streaming, and so forth, that you can pull right off the web. And we did the last 2 shuttles. We did the midday show there. And then this time, and I will every time, I leave a shorter piece for use in the evening newscasts and so forth. So we're keeping our hand in.
Don's goal is to appear on every TV and radio station in Sarasota.
Yeah,
and you're doing very well.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I know you do a lot of reports for some of the other radio stations.
Oh yeah, there was one of the Clear Channel stations. In fact, they just changed formats. So where have I heard this before?
Music, I understand.
Yeah. And every time anything appeared in space, a NASA glitch or whatever, or a postponement, or this, that, or the other thing, or the new crew exploration vehicle. I mean, I know the phone's going to ring, and this young fellow would call me up, Ryan Rafferty, and I'd sit at the home on the phone, and we'd do 5 or 10 minutes. I kept telling him where to send the check, but I'm still waiting for it.
Good news, man. I mean,
oh sure.
Put him right out of college, I think, a couple of years ago, and did a good job.
Very energetic.
I believe he's still working at Clear Channel, but not on that particular station, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think they're still doing the news over there.
So even though, I haven't been active in network radio since 1989. Can you believe that?
That long ago?
17 years, supposedly retired. This is not retirement.
You never retire from broadcasting, do you?
No. As long as WIBQ doesn't lock the door and say, keep him out of here, I can walk in there anytime. I can, bump in on Cliff or you and Jim Grady or anybody. In fact, I've even sat in feeling very, very inferior on that sports show.
You've been with us a couple times on the sports show.
Well, you have an incredible reach for arcane sports, trivia, and Scott Hayes, those guys blow me away. He says, well, back in 1946, George Mikan led the Minnesota Lakers to the NBA. I said, what? Where did they get this stuff from?
Well, we did a fun show with you about 6-8 months ago when you had some archive audio that you actually recorded.
Oh, I love that.
Scully.
I love that.
No-hitter.
Yeah, it was great. My first year in radio, 1956, in the fall. Sal Magley, they called him the barber because he always had a 10 o'clock shadow when he went to the mound. He looked kind of scruffy. Yeah. And he was a giant for years, and he was the Dodgers' nemesis. Then he's traded to the Dodgers, and everybody says, well, he's had his best years. Well, late in September, he pitches a no-hitter against the Phillies at Ebbets Field, and the great Vin Scully, who is still there. This is 1956. Scully is still the man for the Dodgers. And I rolled tape. Remember tape? Quarter-inch tape?
Reel to reel.
And I got the last 2 innings on tape, and the thing I got that I played for you, the thing I liked the best, at the end of the game, Scully comes on and does this top of the head that only the people that are really schooled in their sport can do, like he does, like nobody else, and just this stream of thought about the barber and the cold September days and those old bones responded and everything else. It was poetry, absolute poetry. And I have
any notes? Huh? I mean, you knew he had to come right off the top of his head.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. A beautiful thing. It ran about 20 minutes in total.
Sure.
And I sent a copy of that CD to the Dodger Museum, and I got very, very nice response out there. Yeah. And I said, I wonder if Vinny has any, tape or recording of things like this. because he's broadcast more than a few no-hitters. When you're broadcasting Dodger baseball,
Sandy Koufax,
Don Drysdale, Sandy Koufax, Carl Erskine, I mean, boom, boom, boom. But there you go.
Great memories of
we've had a lot of fun with it. Yeah.
But just speaking of 1220, just want to give the audience a quick update. We are back on the air, and we'd like to thank you for all your calls and letters over there. We're back on, and we're in our new location over the Sarasota Square Mall. So if you head over there, stop by and see us.
Are you physically up and running at?
We are.
Yeah, at the mall.
We're up, and it's kind of a temporary studio, but we're up and running.
Okay, I've got to get up and see it and drop in and maybe.
We move closer to you, Don.
That's what Cliff Roll said. He said, I said, why?
Don has an open invite to any show, as he mentioned, and we're always happy to have you. I mean, you're one of our favorite guests.
Well,
we've done so many things in this business.
I know it.
One of the things we wanted to talk about before we get too much time gone by, Don, the author of this great book, speaking of the space program, Splashdown, NASA and the Navy, and this recounts really the stories behind the recovery missions, or rescue missions. Recovery is the proper word.
All the splashdowns, and that started with Alan Shepard in 1961 and went right up until 1975 with the last Apollo-Soyuz space collaboration locked together in space. It was a 14-year run, 31 missions, and all 31 missions are in the book. All the carriers are historically, documented. All the helicopter groups, all the astronauts. It's a history of that 14-year era.
And nobody had ever done that before.
No. In fact, we laboriously went mining the archives looking for the name of every single ship. I'm talking about oilers, destroyers that flew in, aircraft escort. They call them plane guard destroyers, communication ships, food supply, whatever. 236 ships took place, some of them once, some of them 9 times, depending on where they were stationed, East Coast, West Coast, Norfolk, Boston, whatever.
Right.
And nobody ever cataloged all these ships before, right down to the hull numbers. And we did it as a tribute to the Navy so that, grandchildren today can pick this darn thing up and go to the early pages and say...
Let's take a break, Don. We'll come back, talk a little more about the book.
Yeah, sure.
We're going to take a short break. This is the It's All About Health show. Doug Miles sitting in for Rochelle Herman. My guest is Don Blair. We'll be right back after these messages. Stay with us.